Go lay down. All right, we live. Could be live, might not be live. Gotta do my nails. I was talking about how much I love spending money on my nails and getting my nails done, and how much I make more money when I spend money on my nails. There are times where money makes money. Spending money helps you make more money. And I think any dollar I spend brings back $100 anyway, $1,000, whatever. Why not 10x that on top of 10xing that? Okay, anyway, let me jump in and get started. All right, so with magic money this week, I wanted to talk about, and so much of magic money is a lot of you want to start maybe a business, perhaps, okay? And it probably is a great place for me to talk in that aspect, since I just did that. Since I started a six-figure business, within the last 2 years, 3 months, roughly, that's about where we're at, because it was January of 2022. I started my business. 2022. So we're now in the third year, heading into the third year of having the insurance exam queen business. And it's been a wild ride, an amazing wild ride. And happy birthday to Christine Michelle Hayes, who has been my coach from like negative day 60 before. It was sometime around I think November of 2021, where I began seeing her posts and wanting to learn more from her. And then I started my business in January. So I was still working my corporate job. I was still in a toxic relationship. I was still like feeling meh about my life when I had met, like wanting more. Like I loved my life and I knew it could be better than what it was. And I wasn't making it, I wanted more epicness in my life. And so I followed Christine. She has been my personal coach pretty much from that entire time. So she has been with me to build my business. So thinking about money with building business, that's what I want to talk about. So many of us, and there's so like, it really doesn't matter why. The why is all the past belief systems, the way we were raised, the experiences we had, et cetera, good, bad, whatever. Like so many things have happened to you in the past, and all of those things have dictated how you currently think and feel. And we can sometimes spend a lot of time digging back into the past, especially with wounds. We love to spend a whole lot more time with things that are painful than we love spending time with things that are joyful, which I think is kind of crazy. I definitely try to spend more time of more of my energy, more of my thoughts, more of my focus on the things about my life that are joyful, and less focus to the things that are not joyful. And some may call this ignorance, but ignorance is bliss. Like seriously, if there's like, this is the house that I live in. This is where I am. This is where I am currently at. And if I want to be a person who's in love with my house, I need to be a person who is in love with my house. And so if there's anything about my house that's not like makes my heart sing, that in fact causes me a problem or costs money or whatever, I'm going to deal with that thing, but I'm not going to focus on that thing, because what I focus on grows. I'd rather focus on something that is joyful, that is fun, that is having a good time. And so I focus on those things. But we love to focus on the painful things, especially when it comes to dealing with other people. All the interactions that we have with people are all based on the interactions we've had with people. Like we always, you cannot have a person, I challenge that nobody right now could have a person walk up to them without the person thinking some sort of judgment about them based on what they look like, based on, what their hair looks like, but what their clothes are. You're making thoughts and opinions about this person walking up to you. We are not judgment free in this world. But what you focus on grows. But anyway, in terms of relationships, we definitely are focusing on the painful points of our relationships and not being able to move forward in the relationships that we have, because we're spending all the time looking at the painful moments. And most of us make money very painful, and we look at the painful moments of money. So it can be very hard to want to celebrate money or want more money. If having money has been painful, or not having money has been painful, you've got a very painful feeling attached to money, instead of thinking about the amazing things that money has done. Like I know people who are working a job, making money, have the food they want in the fridge. They're able to buy the clothes that they want. They're able to drive a vehicle. They're able to put gas into it. They're able to move around the world. and they will spend all this time complaining about the money they don't have. Now imagine that, sitting that in front of a person who doesn't have a vehicle. Now imagine a person but has everything else, and then you just keep going down the line. Like, there is somebody in this world who has nothing compared to your everything, and you think your everything is shit because you could have more, and it should be different, and money should be better. Like, we complain a lot about politics, especially around money. And for me, and David just was like, it's time to vote. I'm like, voting? Okay, whatever. Like, politics is a money game, and until I have enough money to be in the game, I ain't gonna worry about it, because someone else with a bunch of money is making the decisions up in that place, and what I focus on grows. So if I focus on politics, the problems are just gonna grow and grow and grow. If I focus on my life, things will get better. And honestly, I think for all of, like, if we all did that, imagine if we never focus on politics again and let politics just die. Wouldn't that be amazing? But we love to watch it. We love to be involved with it. We love to conversate about it. We love to speak evil about the other side and their side and make enemies of each other when we're all just one freaking being anyway. But we like to see our separations instead of the things that make us the same. But one of the things that makes us the same is this painful feeling around money. And that is one of the reasons why it can be so hard for us to bring money to us. Money is a feel-good frequency. It is a feel-good frequency. And here's the thing is, when you say, oh, feel-good, positive, toxicity, whatever the heck you say, you can feel good about being sad. You can feel good about being sad. When we say feel-good energy, it's not saying that that it's a happy, positive, like, ooh, exciting vibration. It doesn't have to be that to feel good. Sad can feel good, right? Why do we watch sad movies and cry it all out? Sadness can feel good. So don't confuse feel good with must be on the happy side of things. And feel good is in, you're not judging that feeling, and you're not, why do I feel this way? And I hate that I feel this way. And then when I feel this way, my whole body is like, like, that would be like a bad feeling. And again, I don't think anything is bad. I think it's just your direction. It's just letting you know, you're veering off course. You need to move you the other direction, right? When something feels bad, we tend to spend a lot of time on it. Again, we will focus on painful things instead of positive things about our life. And that's why so many of us are trapped in our PTSD, because we focus on the pain of those moments instead of the positive things about your life and why you're here. I'm not saying pretend or fake or just only see the positives. You have to deal with every part of your life. In order for me to get where I am today, I had to spend a lot of time looking at my own trash, like the things that were scary to look at. I had to face all of these things in my healing journey and making forgiveness and making amends and being a better person. Like, I wanted to function better. I wanted to talk better. I wanted to feel better. And I had to do a lot of work within me to be able to get to that place. But I just didn't focus on the painful part of it. Like, you have to go through that. You have to deal with it. But I just don't talk on and on about how painful it was and how awful it was. In fact, I focused on how amazing it was to go through my healing journey, even though it was painful, even though there was, shitty things about me that I had to face and all of this stuff. I'd much rather be healed than stay in this misery. I want my water. I don't have it. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about with magic money today, in relation with all of that, I want you to imagine for a moment, like, when we're like, you have an idea. So let's say Melissa made Melissa made a 6-figure business in 1 year, right? Let's start with that. Melissa made a 6-figure business in 1 year. I now have evidence and proof that someone else can do it. And so what do I need to do to begin doing that? And then you begin to think about, okay, well, I'm going to need to do a Facebook page. Melissa had a Facebook page. Okay, cool. Well, then what do I need to do that? I got to get an account login. And then what do you need to do on the Facebook? And then, well, on the Facebook, then you got to do the pictures, and then you got to do the posts, and then you got to do the writing, and then with also the Facebook, and then I also have to do this, and then I'm going to have to get a graphic organizer or a graphic designer to make a pretty picture. And then eventually I'll also have to get a YouTube And then on the YouTube, I will have to make sure I get the graphic, and then I'll have to get the title. And then in addition to the YouTube, I might need to have a person who's going to help me understand the YouTube, because it's a whole system and I got to make sure that I'm posting the right way. And so I'm going to have to hire a person who does the YouTube. And you have spent all this time thinking of this entire plan of all the things you had to do, when all you had to do was just take the very first action you said. I need to start a Facebook. Log on, do it. Log on, do it. Whatever is the thing, the very first action. What would I need to do to start a business? You have a thought, and then you go, okay, well, I'm going to keep thinking about it, and then I'm going to think about it some more, and then I'm going to think about the next step after that, and then I'm going to think about the 20 other million things I would need to do, instead of just taking direct action on the very thing that I just thought to do, when I can take action on it. We tend to stack on all these extra stuff onto the action that we already said we should just go do, make it happen now. Because the thing is because what you're trying to do, and I want you to think about this. When you're driving down the road, especially if you're in the city, you're driving, you got to stop. There's a stop sign. There's things happening. There's people. There's potentially construction. Then you got to turn the other way. Like, you can map out your whole trip to a destination, but that doesn't mean that's the actual destination you're going to take to get there. If there are other physical things that are happening in your world that you're not necessarily in control of, right? So you can map it all out, but at the end of the day, you got to take it day by day, because you never know what's going to happen on the road of life, right? Like, if we think about, we're on this journey, we're on this road, we're all taking a trip together. We're all on the same system, okay? And we have to understand that along this journey, along this path, no matter how much we planned in advance, there's going to be some stuff happening. And we have to deal with it as it comes. If you try to think too far, sometimes, like, because this is the thing, it's so much easier to plan, at best a road trip is probably somewhere around 1 year, maybe like multi-years if you're in a motorhome. But even still, I don't know that I have ever planned for a road trip longer than, say, like 2 weeks, or maybe even like a summer, because I did do a road trip in the summer. Maybe I understand this so much and I'm using the car examples is because I think it was the one way my father knew how to parent, was to just put us in a car and drive. And somehow that was better for him than staying at home in a house with 3 children. He wanted to go places, he wanted to drive. But anyway, life is this journey that we're on. And we want to, before we begin to turn on the car of, let's say the car is your idea, right? So I have this idea, I'm going to start a business. And you get into the car of starting your business, and you won't even rev the engine on until you have plotted the route. Now it's so much easier for us. It's so easy. We got the GPS. It's so quick for you. You already know how to start. You already know the things you got to do to start a business. Just get started. You have set the destination, and then you stop, and I'm like, okay, well, after this trip, then I'm going to have to do this, and then I'm going to have to do that. Just go, because along the way, along the journey, along the path, things are going to happen. Different stuff will pop up, detours along the way. If you try to plan, like planning 2 weeks of a road trip, right? I can plan that out. I got to map out where we're going, especially if you're going to stay in a hotel. If you're going to be camping, you have to equate for things happening. Your car could break down. Like, all kinds of stuff can happen. But you still got to have a rough outline of where you're going. 100% totally believe that. Thinking, a little bit ahead while you're where you're at. But you have to understand that at any given moment, something could happen so drastically that the entire trip you were taking is now an utterly different trip. And planning all of this, all of that, and all of that, and all of this was completely unnecessary, because your trip ended up being a totally different trip than you planned because of a detour, something you couldn't control. And then so many of us are so terrified of that that we just don't take the action to begin with, because we want our plan to unroll exactly as we planned it. Otherwise, it doesn't feel safe. Right? So if we say, I want to make $100,000 in 1 year, like Melissa did. I want to do that. And you set that, you're not willing to take any action unless they feel safe to you. But actions don't really, the big ones don't feel safe. They don't feel safe. They just don't. They're scary. The actions you have to take to go from I am a corporate worker who completely quit my job, boom, like that, had to build a business, had to make money, made $100,000, making multiple six figures, almost to $1 million. This is amazing. You have to take all these different steps to get there. You have to go on all this different journey, and at any point, anytime, something can disrupt that path that you were on, and that feels so unsafe. And then now you're on this completely other journey, and you're like, oh my God, now what about this, and what about that, and what about this, and what about that, instead of just, what's the next step on this journey? This is where you're at. You're in this new realm of things. What's the next right step that you have to take right now? Do that thing. Don't stop stacking on different ideas of, well, I have to do that, then I'm going to have to do this, and then I'm going to have to do this, and then I'll have to hire this person, and then I'll have to whatever. Like, just do the first thing. Just one brick at a time, right? Take it small, one little bite at a time. Right? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you build a business? One bite at a time. How do you make multi-millions? One bite at a time. Just start there, okay? One brick at a time, because the journey that you may think in your head of of how to get, because there's like a million journeys, right? There's like an infinite possibilities of journeys between quitting a job and making $100,000 in 1 year. There's so many different avenues, so many different vehicles, so many different modes. Like, it just gets to be what feels good to you, and all you have to do to find it out is just take the next right step. The next right step in this moment, without stacking on other things that you think you might have to do, because as soon as you hit that journey, there might be a detour which works out way more in your favor, and then you get to take that detour instead of the original journey that you planned, because maybe this is faster. And maybe instead of going on a you probably, maybe within your realm of reality, planned at best with like when you think about like the speed of technology, you planned to do it like in a car, but maybe there's an airplane opportunity that you can take. And that would be like with working with Christine Hayes. Like, I feel like in this whole journey of mine, working with her has allowed me, when my tools, the tools of my abilities of my life at some points were like the Oregon Trail, like barely pulling along a cart with a person to it. Like my ability to function in life sometimes is as good as being able to travel across the country with a big old cart where somebody dies of dysphagia. But because I worked alongside Christine, it was like I was on a first class jet to epicness, which is proof and evidence right here. $100,000 in less than 1 year, and then multiple six figures the next year, almost at $1 million. Like all of this is possible. All of it happened. It's evidence for you. It's proof for you. It was just one journey, one person who was taking the next route of where you have to go. You can only plan so far in advance, because you don't know if there's going to be a detour of some different direction. You don't even know if you might want to completely change the destination, because I'm not talking about like little journeys. I'm talking about like your whole life journey is so big that when you try to go too far in advance, like there's so, like we think about the butterfly effect and what it happens. Think about the ripple effect of every choice that I make changes where I'm going. And I may make a choice right now based only on my current understandings, and I don't even know that there's another option out there. Like, I didn't even know that men who like loved you and apologized and were here to take care of you existed in my experience. I had only been around men who did not, or I couldn't even conceive a man doing that. I may have actually been exposed to many amazing men, but because my frame of mind was that men do this, I believed all men do this, because this is the only experience of a man in my life on a daily basis. So like I expected all men to act like my father, and I treated them as such, you know. But anyway, I went off on a thing there. You are on small journeys right now, you are on the greatest journey of your life, and within that journey there are multiple journeys, right? The greatest the TV series that we, which one? Clove. And then can you get my water, honey? The greatest shows, like I fell in love with the show The Magician. It is so amazing, and it ended at 5 seasons. I wanted it to go longer, but there's hardly ever a show that actually just goes on forever and ever. Most of them end. Maybe not special victims unit. Maybe that's our problem. We're all in the special victims unit, hanging out there, worried about all of our problems. Why don't we focus on what's working? Focus on what's working. Deal with what's not working. Clean it up. Take care of it by no means. But don't use it as a reason to hold you back from everything else that is so epic and amazing and wonderful in your life as an opportunity. You are going to take multiple little journeys inside the life journey. There are going to be, like, when I think about the different type of person I've been throughout the last, even just 2024, can I go 10 years? 10 years feels like too small. 2014, I can be 2014 right now. I can go back there. And 2014 was a girl who was like, had just lost her edge at losing weight. It was like the years of I had been in Herbalife, and it was like so amazing. And I started losing weight, and then all these people were following me, and then I just kind of like lost it all. And then I gained my weight again. And I was in this weird phase in 2014. And that version of me does not exist today. Gone. She was on a completely different journey, but she brought me to this point. Like, you're going to take so many journeys along your lifetime. Don't allow, like, the journey of a lifetime to hinder you from the journey you're on right now, because the journey you're on right now is what builds the journey of a lifetime. If you want your lifetime to be amazing, your life, your time has to be amazing right now. Right now. Right now. You can't wait for your life to be amazing at some far off point. It needs to be amazing right now. You need to understand that the journey you're on, I need some water. You have to understand that the journey you're on right now is small compared to what you're doing. Don't think too far ahead. Like, have big picture in mind. Yes, like utter financial freedom. Like, I plan to have millions, making millions, money on top of money. My money making money, like those are the things, but I try not too hard to think about, okay, well, in order to get there, I got to do this, and then I got to do that, and then I got to do this, and then that is so much that I don't want to do anything because I don't believe it's going to work out, right? Just take the next right step to getting there. Okay, build a business, start a YouTube channel. Don't think build a business. I mean, whatever, start a YouTube channel, start a Facebook page, start going live, start writing, whatever it is, you got to start doing the thing, and then you got to love what you're doing in your life, even when it's unlovable. Love what you can love about it. Okay? I don't love if your mattress, my floor is too cold. I don't love that, but I love these soft socks, right? Like, you can put on socks when the floor is too cold. Focus on the thing you can do, the thing that makes your life wonderful now, the things that feel good now, to continue to build the bricks of the most amazing, wonderful things in your life. Address your issues. Yes. If I'm sick, I'm going to lay down. I'm going to drink some tea. You take care of what happens. You just don't make it the focus of your whole world, right? The things along the way are just things along the way, and you have to deal with them as they come. If you try to over prepare and over plan to avoid those things, other things will show up. Like, it just focus on the now, in this moment. Have a grand idea for what you want, but just know that there's a million different ways to get there. And the only way to get there is by you just being you on a daily basis. Emphasize you more to yourself. We spend so much time trying to control the thoughts of other people. Like, do you realize that? How often you are trying to control the thoughts about other people? I'm going to do this. I'm going to look like this so they think this about me. Or I won't do this, or I won't do that because they will think this about me. And we spend so much of our time thinking about what other people are thinking about us. And you may or may not be wrong or right, but you're trying to control and dictate the thoughts that someone else is going to have about you inside their head. And then if they say them out loud, then you're like worried about someone else hearing the thoughts that they were carrying the thoughts in their head. And those people's thoughts are going to attack my thoughts. And then am I going to be able to handle the thoughts? And I'd rather stop any of those thoughts from happening. I don't want anybody to have an opportunity to make fun of me. I don't want anybody else to say anything. I had a guy who says I'm on meth. Like, he follows my YouTube channel and he calls it like the meth itch when I scratch my arm. Like, there are going to be people who there's going to be times and circumstances where you are facing a person who does have an ugly thought about you, who doesn't like something about you, who does make fun of you, who does tell you, like, I am so confused. I'm not much on TikTok or Reels, but like, apparently we're making fun of women who want to wear dresses and bake bread at home. Like, I don't understand why that's so wrong. And there are people tearing apart these other women. And I'm like, if you don't like it, just go scroll on. Like, and if you don't like it, you know, like, what about that triggers you? Because maybe you are stuck in a belief system that says, I have to be working a job and I have to be away from my baby and I have to do all these things and that's what makes me a good person. And how dare her? How dare her try to do something different? How dare her do it by dressing up? It was so weird because to me in this video, it was so nuts. They said these women are, this is how much we hate money. Like, we're so mad about money. It's like these millionaire women relying on their millionaire husbands are walking around in dresses and baking bread. Well, what are you going to do when you make $1 million? You're going to hang out with your kids. You're going to have a good time. But whatever. Like, we judge these women for creating content, like baking breads and spending time with their children. We say, oh my God, that's impossible. She would have given up by now. She should be at McDonald's doing this. And we attack these people who are just living their lives and sharing it on. So it cannot be real that they live this way. Like, and we're assuming as if that 6-second clip represents the entirety of their life. You know everything about that person from a 6-second clip, and she is wearing that dress, and like, look at her. Like, this stuff is real. I thought we were done with this stuff. This bullying stuff and making fun of other people's stuff. Like, didn't we have enough of that stuff in school? Is that quit bullying for the people who bully you the most? I was such a bully. I was probably one of the bulliest teachers you ever met. I knew how to bully a kid to make them cry so that they would stop and not disrupt the rest of the class, and I can move on with my lesson with everyone with a tight little lip and making their little notes. I can get 30 children in a room to do what I wanted them to do. And I was really good at it. Like, whew, let me take a sip of water. Oh man. We need to stop making fun of each other. And if they do, who cares? That's also the point. Like, who cares? Who cares? At the end of the day, those women are, and this was the other point that was so funny. They're making millions simply from their followings, right? Driftwood evidence. If someone else is doing it, I can do it too. They're making millions from their channel that they're making these little 6 seconds videos on that you judge them so harshly about, right? So they're making money off of that. And then their argument was that these women are presenting a lifestyle that says you can bake bread, hang out with your children, and wear dresses as if, like, you can just totally do that. As if that's not an option. As if it's impossible. As if there's no way to do those things. Assuming that that's the only things that get done in those moments. There's things. Everything has things that need to be taken care of. We can't. No one is ever trying to say this is absolutely perfect. Like, I would never come up here and tell you I tell you my life is amazing. My life is awesome. There are moments that feel super, super, super perfect to me. I think my life is perfect. But I think that the awful things add to that perfect. I believe that the struggles and the hardships and the things that I have gone through allow me to feel that this moment is perfect. Even though those moments were hard and were difficult and were a struggle, and I don't think that I would relive them. In many moments I don't wish I ever would put on somebody again. The moments that I have been hurt and the moment I have hurt. I have hurt many people on this planet, a lot of people on this planet, because I spent a lot of time bullying a lot of children in the classroom to get them to behave, to get them to listen and do what I said. And yet we deny the power and the impact that the school system has over our children. Like, I'm not promoting homeschool for any other reason so much as the fact that I know what happens in schools. And I was so good at getting these children to be programmed into the beliefs that I wanted them to have and hold, because that was the only way to get them to all behave in a room of 30 from the knowledge and experience that I had. I didn't know there were other options of working with children in a way where you don't have to terrify them, bully them, mistreat them, that there are other ways of functioning with kids. I started to do that in my last year of teaching, and my last year of teaching ended up being the most craziest year because I went from being able to be a teacher who we got to just kind of flow with the go and do what felt good to us, because I was the empowerment teacher, literally empowering them to go after what they wanted to go after, having fun conversations, not worried about getting a grade or learning something or being able to memorize something. It was just a time where I can recognize the person as who they were, and they got to recognize me as a teacher, and I didn't have to, you know, do all these tactics that I had learned to manage these children in a classroom, that I could do it differently and better. But then in the middle of the year, they told me that I would have to go from this empowerment teacher to now back to teaching social studies, where the kids had to learn something, get a grade, compare each other, and I had to be, and I had no other tools but to come that teacher again. And they hated it, I hated it, and it was some of the hardest times of my teaching career, and that was the last school teaching job that I had. It started out as one of the best opportunities I had had. I was so excited about it. I was making much more money. In fact, I pushed back and negotiated. Like, in my last teaching job, they wanted me to do fourth grade. I was like, I can't do that. And I really wanted to work at this school, and I'm so glad I did. Like, the people I met there are still my best friends today. Like, that school made an impact on my life. I would not trade what I have gained from that school versus what it cost me. It cost me to go to that school. I ended up having very painful experiences while teaching at that school, from the school system itself, as well as the experience in my life that happened during that time. And I wouldn't trade it, because of who I got to meet, what I got to learn, what I went through, what I experienced, what I gained from those hardships were worth the cost of going through the hardships. And sometimes that's the price we pay, because we're here in human bodies that have feelings and stuff. Like, we're going to feel things, we're going to experience things. We can't live without dying. Like, the people we have met before will die. It's going to happen. We can lose people that we know, people that we expect and rely on to be with us 24/7 could die on us. And we're not living in the moments that we have with them, because we're focused on all these painful past issues and these belief systems that we perpetuate about money and making money and working with people and whatever, or that you can have pink mohawk hair that fades into blonde. I love this. I had actually talked about being blonde with my hairdresser, because when I have not been blonde in so long. I stopped bleaching my hair when I got pregnant. And then after having the baby, I waited for a little bit till I was like able to get to a point where I felt like I could maintain it. And so I finally bleached it. And I was like, I don't know that I want to put color on it. I want to be blonde again. Because I'm in my Britney era when I've got the blonde hair. Like, I totally feel that. Like, rebel. That's why I shaved my head. I'm a rebel. I got to see Britney like wig out in public while I had to be stuck at a boarding school. Like, I was like, damn it, she got out and I didn't. But hey, I'm so much better that in my round, I get the money a little bit later. If I had gotten money younger, I would have been as crazy as Britney, and I'd be in a place. Now I get to make money where I'm a little bit more sane in what I'm doing and how I'm feeling and how I'm operating and who's in charge of my life. I'm in charge of my life. Back then, a lot of other people were in charge of my life. And some of the most painful experiences of my life, and I think this is true for everybody, happened when someone else was in charge of what we got to do. And when it's finally our turn, when we're in charge, we don't know how to be in charge. We weren't taught the right tools to be in charge of our emotions, to be in charge of our life, to be in charge of our finances, to be in charge of feeding yourself, right? For much of your life, someone else was in charge of making sure you had food to eat. And God forbid if you were a child where the parents didn't take that into concern. Like, there's so many problems, so much pain. And we can fix that pain by focusing on the better side of that moment. Okay? The cost of what I went through the boarding school experience, despite everything that it was, what I experienced there allowed me to be who I am today. And I believe the hardship was worth it. And I also believe they should be shut down and that they should not be able to inflict this pain on other children. Like two things can exist at the same time: pain and pleasure, gain, negative and positive. This is how like money can be on a loop. Like I remember I had to teach a math lesson one time, and I swear I like it was this way of like doing math that like always made money like subtraction, but like thinking it in terms of positive. And I was like, I struggled so hard, and they're like, I had to use these like I was in this I failed math so many times. I had to use an example of trying to teach math using these pieces that I didn't know how to explain. I didn't know what I was doing. It didn't make sense to me, and I had to do it in front of like 30 people. And I remember doing it, and the instructor was like, and I grew up so smart. Like I was a teacher's pet. Like I could give any answer, just not in math, not in math class. And I think I hold this belief now that I'm bad at math. Because I swear, like, I think I look at my money and I'm like, I have to be like, I don't know, like, there's always enough money there, but not as much money as I think there's enough money. Like, I want even more money. Like, and there's just definitely a math thing for me. So I need to, I really need to work on my love around money and math and magic. Whatever beliefs we hold, like, I've seen it happen. Like, they actually teach this to us as teachers, that what the teacher sees in the student becomes the student's reality. Like, this is ingrained to us. Like, we know this. Like, this is how we know teachers have a lot of power over the influence of your children, because how the teacher perceives the student is how she's going to treat the student, and then the student responds to that, even if the teacher holds a false belief. Like, a teacher could have one instance where she believes your child is like insubordinate and like never going to listen to her and always be a problem. She's going to begin to treat him like that, even if they're not like that. And the student will then begin to exhibit those behaviors. Or if you believe that a student cannot learn, like if a student will never be able to say his ABCs or whatever, and like, look, I teach him and he never learns it. He's so dumb. He's so stupid. And if the teacher has that belief in her body while she's working with the person, because you've had it, you've probably had the, like, working with a coworker, like, how the hell did they get this job? Like, how is this person here right now working with me at this place, and we're making the same amount of money and they think like that? Like, I've had that belief. I've seen a TikTok like that sometime this week. Like, how can this person have this job? We have these beliefs in our system, in our body, and we just have to uproot them and put in new beliefs. Like, but it's implanted by the teachers. This is the education system, and this is why I struggle so much with the idea of sending my kid to education, or why I get into fights and arguments with people about send your kids to school. Like, I'm not judging anybody, but just think about it a little bit and make a decision about what feels good for you. Like, I don't care. Like, send your kid to school, don't send your kid to school. Like, but I can't not, if I don't tell you like what I went through as a teacher, as a student, and that's fueling my reason for why I do what I do. It's not to shame you into not sending your kids to school. Like, I just can't do it for me, and here's why. And we're so worried about upsetting other people. We're so worried about what other people think about us. And then we don't take action because someone else might think a thought about me. Oh my God. What if it's not a good thought? What if it's a bad thought? Should I change the thought? What are they going to think about this spaghetti strap? What are they going to think about these earrings? What are they going to think about this lip color? What are they going to think about this hair? Like, what are they going to think about? What are the neighbors going to think? Oh my God, what are the neighbors going to think? Like, that's a belief system we've held in our bodies for quite a while. What are the neighbors going to think? We can let that go. Who cares what the neighbors think? Get to know the neighbors. Be friends with the neighbors. Like, love your neighbor. It's biblical. Love your neighbor. Don't worry about what they think. And if you're thinking good thoughts about you, it helps them think good thoughts about them. And then you don't have to worry about what they think to begin with. But at the end of the day, it's not your worry. All you can control are your own thoughts. So focus more on your own thoughts. You can't make someone else think different thoughts. You can't make them see a different viewpoint, a different perspective. You can't control their thoughts to make your thoughts feel better. Like, no matter what action someone does or doesn't do, no matter what words they do or don't use, no matter whatever happens, the only person who can dictate how you choose to feel is you. And I went through many experiences in my boarding school experience where I was basically at a place that was super crazy, super abusive, super scary. And I was the only one who could just, like, I knew that my mind was the only place they could not get into. They can get into any other part of me, but they can be in control of my body. They can be in control of my time. They can be in control of what I'm doing. They can be in control of what I'm eating. Like, these are the things I have to surrender for the next 2 years at this place in order to survive. I will surrender all of these freedoms, but they will not take hold of my mind. And I spent so much of my time at boarding school dreaming about my future, dreaming about the life that I would be able to live when I got out of this place that I had no control over. There's nothing that could have been done by me any differently to change what I ended up experiencing. Like, they got to make the shots, they got to make the call, and you just had to give in, lie back, do whatever. That's childhood. We have to do whatever our parents decide. It's very rare that we get consent over the things that happen in our life, who we get to meet, who we get to see. Like, I believed all men acted this way because this is how my father acted, and so this is what I believe and see to be true. And we focus on the pain of that. No, when we see that there could be better, instead of striving for the better and going for the better and doing whatever it takes to get there, we focus on all the pain that was experienced by the thing that was not better. This is how we focus on lack. We think about the thing that is not better and how it could have been better. We're seeing lack. You got to do better on top of better on top of better, more on top of more, abundance on top of abundance. Because what you focus on grows. Like, it's really this simple, but we make it so hard. We make it so complex. Anyway, I've been about an hour, and I hear my baby wants me, so I'm going to go. I'm going to put this on the Magic Minute YouTube if you ever want to make sure you listen to a replay. But it'll always be on my Facebook channel, but probably the easiest place to ever come back, because this is one for the savers. I want to go back and listen to this because this was magic. For sure. Wow. You can find it on the YouTube channel. Melissa Dillon on YouTube. And I love you all. Have an amazing night. Bye.